I am Nicole Fevrier-Davis, and this is Positive Impact for Mind and Body. And I'm so happy to be back here. I am trying to hone in on a concept for people, and I find it very interesting. If I can get feedback from the audience, that would be fantastic. A lot of people ask me, to help them lose weight. If you didn't know my history or my background, basically I'm certified by NASM. I was certified by AFA for like 15 years before AFA joined NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I have about 30 different certifications in fitness and health and well-being. So that's a little piece of my life that I function with daily. I have clients that I train on a regular basis. But I also do this other piece of it, which is all mind body, and I give psychic readings and healings. I'm a Reiki master. So I've been doing this for about 8 or 9 years. Prior to that, I was separating everything out. I had my personal training business, I had my psychic reading and healing business, but now they've kind of like collaborated and meshed together, and we have a lot of fun doing different mind body sessions that I've created over time. So I'm always very interested in the latest, science on weight gain or weight loss, etc. And I think this comes up a lot for people because there's so many emotions revolving around it. A lot of people feel either really guilty about having gained weight, or feel maybe they're a little out of control, or they just don't have a handle on how to lose the weight. So the first thing that I want to point out is that there are a lot. I don't have to tell you. There's so many weight loss programs out there, right? So many. It goes on and on. From the diet packages you could buy, and the shakes, and then the supplements, and then if you do this, if you just do this one thing, eat celery for like 24 days in a row, you're going to lose weight. Duh. All this kind of stuff comes up, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the things that are designed to help you lose weight quickly are actually horrible for you the long term. Just FYI. I don't know if that's an obvious thing or not, but I thought I'd mention that. The other thing is, that quick weight loss, and this is how I measure. I don't know if you're familiar with the InBody Scale. I measure all my clients with the metrics of the InBody Scale. So the InBody Scale not only tells me body composition analysis, the muscle fat analysis, obesity analysis, segmental lean analysis, but it also tells me something called ECW and TBW. That's the extracellular water weight. That's really important to know, because if you're not able to absorb water through your cells, then you're probably going to bloat up very quickly. And that's additional water weight. So we always want to take a look at those numbers. So what I have found fascinating, though, is that when people were working out with me on a regular basis and they were training with weights, and sometimes we would do interval training, right, to help boost the metabolism and get it functioning again. And then other days, I would just work straight weight training, because I'm an advocate of utilizing weights to increase muscle mass, because that will help you burn fat. That is a truth, okay? We're going to address a couple of truths and a couple of myths in the body of this today. We're going to break it down. So what I find fascinating is when I actually work out with people on a regular basis, and we train with weights, and we train with cardiovascular intervals, we actually see that, as in like the case of this client here. I take metrics every week. She went from 160 to 160. She went from 166 to 160 in about 2 weeks. And in that time, her skeletal muscle mass, given the weight training and everything, her skeletal muscle mass only dropped to less than 2 pounds. And that's what you want. You want to keep your muscle, man. That's the thing that's pushing that collagen through and getting the muscle mass tight. But the body fat mass dropped 5%. Okay, that's huge. That's very good. That's very, very good. For women, you want to be between 18 and 22% body mass. The older you get, the higher the body mass, the body fat index gets. But I generally find that you want to try to keep the body fat percentage lower than normal. But what I find fascinating was that when COVID hit and she started seeing a nutritionist, she said, I lost like 15 pounds. And I'm like, that's phenomenal. We were still training online, and she started seeing the nutritionist. And I said, get me those metrics. So her nutritionist uses something called a Tanita scale. And she gave me her metrics back. And it was hysterical because she only had a certain amount of weights at home, free weights at home. She had like an 8-pound set, a 5-pound set hand weights, and then like 3-pound ankle weights. Not a big deal, right? Not the same thing as you would experience with maybe a 10-pound ankle weight or 15-pound upper body. But she felt comfortable with that, and I didn't want to push her out of her comfort zone, especially during COVID. It's stressful enough, right? But what I found fascinating was that she lost 15 pounds. Guess how much of that was muscle mass? Unfortunately. Any guesses? Anyone? Oh, hi, Papa. Hi, good afternoon from the King of Arts, Papa. Oh, thanks, Papa. I love you. With love and blessings back at you. That's awesome. She actually had gained body fat. So, right? That's, wow, mind-blowing. She lost 15 pounds, lost most of it in muscle weight, but gained fat back because fat actually weighs less than muscle. So there's a whole school of thought that it's okay, you just have to lose weight, that's it. No, it's the quality of the weight you're losing. That's the most important thing. And if you are losing fat mass like you would with a little bit of resistance training or weight training, then that's the ideal scenario because you're going to keep it off longer. Your metabolism is going to work more effectively and efficiently, and you're going to be happier at the end of the day. No one wants to hear, oh, geez, I'm still at 58% body fat. That's a lot of body fat. You don't want to hear that once you've lost weight. Am I right here? Does that make sense? To lose weight but increase body fat percentages, that's just sick and wrong, isn't it? So that's what we have to, consider when you're weighing and measuring your options in terms of weight loss. You want to really consider, what are you putting into your body? So a lot of these shakes and food supplements, I want to say, they're flavored with a lot of sugars. They'll say no carb, but they forgot to tell you there's like 350 milligrams of sugar or salt. And those are the things that fat loves to thrive on. So just be mindful of the fat percentage that's going into your food. The other misnomer is to utilize like Olivio or one of the margarines to substitute butter. So no matter what you're looking at, it's fat, right? So try to decrease those pieces of fat in your diet on a regular basis so that you do encourage muscle growth and you continue to lose weight in a healthy way. Now, that being said, I've seen, I want to say, hundreds of what we call skinny fat people. They may be very thin or on the thinner side or right within their range for their body weight, but their body fat percentage way exceeds what the norm is for that age group and that gender group, and the height. You go by height, gender, and age. And when, hi, Papa. Thank you, Papa. No problem. My God, you're such a blessing. Thank you for showing up. So we go by that. And then we also, what doctors like to go by, which I think is hysterical, is something called BMI. That's a body mass index. So body mass index only goes, it doesn't go by body fat percentage versus muscle mass like we trainers do on a daily basis. Doctors will go by BMI. So I find it hysterical that some of the bodybuilders that I've worked with go to a doctor for a checkup and they realize their BMI is off the charts. It's way too high. And the doctors tell them, you're obese. No. They have more muscle mass than what the standard BMI chart allows for. So that's the other piece of this. You're not obese if your muscle mass exceeds the norm for your height, your weight, and your age. If your body fat percentage is beneath the norm, then you need a different metric to be measured by, right? That's like the bodybuilder metric. That's what we try to hone in on when we're looking at gaining muscle mass as weight. So we've seen both. We've seen people who are overmuscular and their BMI is off the charts. And then we've seen people who are really, really thin, but too fat, believe it or not. Yeah, good. You are really helping people. Is sweet good for the tongue is mostly killing the body. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, sweets definitely, it's sugar, it's carbohydrates, it's oils, it's salt that, and I have a theory about why we crave each one of those things, which isn't so much theory. I mean, it is based in science, which I think deserves a whole different show, don't you think? Yes. So anyway, you want to be aware of what you're ingesting so that you're not, obesely fit and you're not skinny fat. Does that make sense? Like you getting this? I know Papa is, if he's still with me. The other piece of this, I had to ask myself, does God really care? Either way, he loves us all the way we are, right? He loves us in our entirety, no matter what we look like, how much we weigh, etc. The only time it starts to interfere with that relationship with your spirit and your soul is when it prevents you from things that are meaningful in your life, that can add value, that can help you evolve, right? So if being unfit or overweight in fat, you want to check within yourself, maybe even use the body scan. That's for free on my website, not for nothing. You can still go there and get that. If it prevents you from experiencing relationships honestly, if it prevents you from engaging with your community, volunteering for something, if you're too embarrassed to go out of the house, if it prevents you from hearing your personal truth. In other words, a lot of people gain weight because of a past trauma, because of past abuse. So the weight gain tends to act as like a buffer, then they don't have to be as attractive. They don't have to be accountable because they're too heavy for anyone to really want to, check in with or probe and find out how they're doing. It acts like a protective measure. And then, that tends to also, that lack of attention tends to also make you feel less and less worthy of the attention. So it's a vicious cycle, and it's so important to not fall prey to any one of those things. The biggest issue that God is really, really intent on, and that's why Raphael, he guides me in a lot of my sessions, is that if you are overweight, over fat, and healthy, and can anticipate to continue to be healthy for 10, 15, 20 years, God bless you. And you're engaging in your community and you're actively involved in your relationships. You have plenty of energy to experience those things and the things that God has gifted you with, like, being able to play the flute or, go for a run or, do some artwork or, be able to dance with your kids, whatever it is, any gifts that God has given you, just as long as you're able to still use those things, then have at it. I have no problems. And I'm a big fan of drawing nudes. So, the typical nude model is not, quote unquote, in the normal weight range. And a lot of them are very healthy. It's not a problem. But it's when it starts to prevent you from actually feeling your soul actively involved in your decision-making in relationships with your children and your spouse, in your career, if you're actively involved in a group, it just as long as you're continually being able to access and grow and develop those relationships, that is all God wants. He wants us all to be happy. The thing that I find, though, most often is that people who do have a lot of overweight from fat, they're suffering. You know, I just did I just wrote a little script about, you know, some of the services that I provide. I'm going to put a reel together for. And when most people see someone who's overweight or over fat or obese, people will say, oh, you know, they have no self-control or they're lazy. And I don't see it like that. You know, I see someone who's been suffering for a while, someone who has no idea. They're stuck. They don't have any concept of how to get themselves out of this suffering. And it usually, like I said before, and I've said this, I don't know, maybe last year this time, people who are overweight and they're suffering from that overfat syndrome, they're people who are hypersensitive, have experienced past trauma or abuse, or they have experienced some sort of what is it called? I've lost my words. Injustice. And they don't have any way of healing it. They don't know how to constructively resolve it. So that starts sending signals, those feelings of anxiety, latent anger, latent frustration or depression. You know, on the surface, you may be happy and saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm happy, there's nothing wrong. But it's those underlying subconscious emotions that are starting to trip the switches in the brain that create an imbalance in brain chemistry, and that's what affects the metabolism. So we really have to get very clear about who we are, what we're feeling, and find ways of balancing those emotions before we attempt a diet or exercise program. So I think we peoples need to urge our conscience and not just base to the fun, not just bow to the fun. You mean it's one thing to have fun, and I am the first. My son graduated this past weekend. I threw him a surprise graduation party, and that was fun. We had a chocolate fudge cake, and we had a red velvet cake with cream cheese icing, and we had chips, and we had all kinds of cheeses and crackers and all the stuff that's not really great when you're trying to lose weight. But we do it like once every 4 or 5 months because it's an event. It's not an everyday experience. Oops. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, it was a really fun time. And no doubt about it, no matter who you are, and I just weighed myself the day before, I weighed 139. The day after, it was 141.4. Now, I'm not worried about that because that type of eating, the chips, the salsa, the cake, the breads, that type of eating, I don't do every day. I do that, like I said, once every 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months. So, that's what you want to do is try to, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to start a diet, I'm going to start a workout. No, what you want to try to do is establish a habit pattern. Forget about the diet and the workout. Establish a habit pattern where you're eating healthy every day. Thanks, Papa. You're eating healthy every day. You're active every day because God didn't create those muscles and bones so that you could be sedentary. I'm sorry. That was not the intention. So think about what did God intend? God intended for us to be moving constantly. It's very unusual, like in the bigger plan, for someone to sit for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. That was never supposed to be a part of God's plan. So the angels were very specific about certain aspects of our humanness in a body that is overweight. And not to feel bad about it, but to understand that you need to resolve some issues on the subconscious level, which I've talked about over and over and over again. Find ways to resolve it or heal it. If you can't do that on your own, feel free to reach out to me. I do it all the time. And then you start to establish new habits, not a diet and exercise program. Because the second you start calling it a diet or exercise program, it implies that there's a temporariness to it, right? It implies that this is only going to last for as long as I need to lose the weight, and then I can stop. But that's not a part of the bigger plan. The bigger plan was to enjoy our movement, to enjoy our bodies, to be able to dance, jump, run, grab someone and hug them, and be able to do all the things that you need to do in order to survive. Picking the plants, hunting the animals, yada yada. But in today's day and age, it's all about obviously your ability to go out grocery shopping, or your ability to cook for a meal for your family. It's about utilizing everything that you have in order to express, right, your truth, your love, your compassion for each and every person that you come in contact with, that you want to grow and evolve with. Be strong and spiritually minded. I think that's true. Yes, exactly, Papa. So that being said, I bless every single person I see running on the side of the road, trying their hardest. I bless everyone that I see at a gym, in a yoga class. I bless everyone who's moving, because the movement brings joy, and the movement increases endorphins and balances serotonin and cortisol. And as you know, all those are kind of like catchwords in the scientific industry about weight loss, but they are actual real things. And they are deeply ingrained and connected with our emotions and our soul. So if our soul is actively involved in that process, right? It's like the habit that I'm talking about. If our soul, our mind, our emotions are engaged in a physical activity, we're more likely to adopt it anyway. I've had a lot of people who climb on board the fitness train and in hopes that they can actually maintain something, but they fall off the wagon, and then they come back. And that's not bad. That's a good thing. It just means that you've created the habit and something disrupted your habit. It's life. It's called life. You were able to go away for a month, in Italy, or, you had a death in the family, or a birth in the family, or you moved. There are going to be things that stop you or prevent you from moving healthfully, but then you get back on track. That's the most important thing. The nature blesses you. Also, I feel it myself. Oh, I love that. God bless you all. God bless you all. That's phenomenal. I really do. I feel blessed by you, anyone who watches this. I feel blessed by you, and I'm your biggest fan. And I know that sounds corny, but it's like true. Like, I just think how special people are that can stand listening to me. It's the kind of thing that I've known all of this for my whole life. It's just, I had to figure out how to put the words to it. And now I have a beautiful platform here at Positive Impact to allow me to express all these things. So, if you do enjoy this, if you are really getting something out of it, and I believe that every single show I do, every podcast I do, there's something new to learn. I don't think it's a one-off kind of thing. Yeah, thanks. Maestro. Yeah, thanks, Maestro. You're welcome. But anyway, if you do enjoy the podcast, feel free to like it. Feel free to follow me at Nicole's MBM on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at any time. You can also reach out to me here if you have a question, or you can follow me. Go to my mindbodymastery.org website and email me. That's another way you can contact me. There's all different kinds of ways you can contact me. If you would like a free reading, I'm doing 30-minute free readings in the month of May for you guys, just for you. 30-minute free sample reading in May. So if you want a free reading, you can contact me here. Like, again, say, I'd like to get a reading, and then maybe send me an email at nicolesmbm@proton.com. And that being said, I think that's my bell to end the day. I hope you got something out of this. Again, feel free to ask me any questions. Follow me at NicolesMBM on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and feel free to ask any questions. But I love you guys, and I know you're doing a great job. I know you're trying your hardest to be as evolved and happy and healthy as you can be. That's what my radar capture you. Yeah. Some people say that. A lot of people say, oh, I stumbled across your podcast and I love it now. I like looking forward to it every week. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks, everyone. I love you. And thanks, Papa. Hang in there. I'll talk to you soon on Thursday, 1 p.m. Have a great day. Bye.